That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It is Commissioner Cooper, and I know it's early, but we won't see you until next Friday. It'll be after Halloween, so we figured we'd bring you some Halloween fun tonight. But we're going to break down Week 8. Also, the scariest list of all from the medical. Sorry, I got it all mixed up. From inside the medical tent, Brian will bring some scary injury news that we've had all season long. We also got Mr. Mallard or Mallardo or some kind of sophisticated scary picks this week as well. And we got You Got Ghosted coming up tonight. So get ready, get scared. It's time for TSS Fantasy.
Yeah! Here we go!
It's time for TSS Fantasy.
It is Commissioner Cooper.
I could do a whole 49ers show right now.
Ready to rock out with my gavel out.
Oh yeah, baby!
Don't sleep on my Patriots, you know.
And we're ready for football. That's
Joe Burrow with this wrist, I'm curious.
I find you guilty of all charges.
although you assistant force in this
I used to develop some really great chemistry.
DJ Chuck Bass.
This guy has been doing it ever since coming off.
I hope you like the way I pimped
He's
you out.
got 4 targets in all 3 of the plays.
They scored a touchdown this year.
Let's go. It's Week 8, and there's a lot of scary records out there, but we're here to get you back in it as the playoffs are start to get going here. So let's get things started with our introductions. Welcome into the studio, Mr. Sophistication himself, or maybe it's not. Who knows? It's Andrew LeDuc. Welcome into the studio.
I have a pre-written statement from Mr. Mallard. He will be gone for the week due to his embarrassing performance. I am Mr. Mallardo, the very good-looking and similar-looking relative. So Mallardo likes to take his blood shots of Robitussin to help the cough that I will be muting myself all night on.
Oh, scary indeed. And who came dressed for the party, Justin Jesus Herrera. Welcome into the studio. Oh, now pre-show it was just all echo, and now we can't hear you at all, Justin. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there.
Tighten up.
He's still just talking too. It's fantastic.
It's the disappearing microphone.
There you go.
Oh, there he is. All right, welcome in, my friend.
All right. So, unlike my bows, I will hopefully be useful in this episode. But yeah, my whole stick is gone. I was trying to plan something improv, but the whole echo thing has officially cursed my Halloween special surprise for you guys. But anyways, yeah, let's go football. And if Andrew's disappointed with his performance last week, I don't know what I should be, because I've been disappointing all season long.
Ooh,
you are a natural 49ers fan.
I'm just gonna call myself out. I'm gonna call myself out now because
you know what, Andrew? We're usually disappointing at the end, but we're good all season.
That's what she said. I'm gonna call myself out now in my home league, and I'm sure Fred and Greg will enjoy this. I am officially 0-7 for the first time in 20. It's been 21 years now. First time ever that I start out 0-7. I can't believe it. I mean, I had Pacheco, I had Jonathan Taylor, I had freaking Cooper Kupp. So a lot of injuries, of course, plaguing. Of course, Brian will be in to clue us in on some of that, but yeah, just it's been a scary year. Let's just say that. All right, well, let's pay the bills. If you're watching on YouTube, do us a solid, hit subscribe, hit like, bring us your fantasy questions. We appreciate it. Also hit that notification bell so that way we can bring you all the great fantasy stuff. And especially on Sunday, you want to wake up with us at 8 a.m. We got lots of good stuff for you there. So we appreciate you. Also, don't forget, go to Underdog Fantasy, use a promo code TSS. We'll double that deposit up to $100. And if you're looking for some championship bling for your fantasy champion, look no further than Pro-Am Belts. All right, we're going to talk about last night with a little bit of news. All righty. So last night happened. And again, it's all season long. These surprise starts and sits, and it's just get Puka Nakua out of nowhere. Comes down with the RKO on the Vikings. What a great night last night to watch. Great football. There was a good offense. We couldn't ask for anything better than that. I enjoyed it. Sam Darnold, not too bad again, 242 TDs, struggled in the red zone. We saw when we got a little bit of pressure, Sam Darnold struggled a little bit. Justin Jefferson also had a decent night, 8 receptions, 118 yards. Part of that, though, struggle in the red zone would, if those Justin Jefferson owners would love to see a touchdown added on to a big night that he was already having. So that was nice. Aaron Jones, subpar performance, 58 yards. He did have 2 receptions for 37 yards, but subpar, unfortunately. Matt Stafford, 279, 4 TDs. Did have the 1 pick. Kyler Williams as well with 97 yards, 5 receptions, 19 yards, and that TD just keeps the streak alive. We talked about Puka Nakua, 7 receptions, 106 yards. Cooper the Cup with 5 receptions, 51 yards, and a TD. And how about, I found that so funny that when Cooper Kupp and Puka Nakua got hurt, all we kept talking about, all we kept hearing was that name, Demarcus Robinson. We kept hearing it, and nothing happened. And then last night, when they both come back, you want to show up. 2 receptions, 35 yards, 2 TDs. Wow, what a night. What do you think about it, LeDuc?
So pretty much everything what you just said to me is that if I'm a fantasy owner, it was a very frustrating night because, like you said, Kupp and Nakua made it work with the receptions and yards, but they didn't get the touchdowns because all of a sudden Demarcus Robinson shows up and gets a touchdown. Same things if you're a Jefferson or Addison owner. Jefferson, I think he had 8 total receptions. I think 5 of them came in the first quarter. So you start that game, you're thinking, all right, I can chill. It's going to be a good night. And he still put up an all right night for you as far as receptions and yards. But then you get Oliver and Sherfield getting touchdowns for you. And then all of a sudden, both offenses just came to like a grinding halt towards the end of that game to where, that must have been frustrating. I had like 0 exposure to that game last night in most of my leagues. So I got to just watch it as a fan of football. And for that standpoint, it was a great game. I don't want to get too much into that final face mask call, which we know is a face mask call. There's no denying that. But let's be honest, the Vikings blew that game before that anyways, and they were still down 2 scores with under 5 minutes left. So nothing's guaranteed, but it is worth mentioning.
It is worth mentioning indeed. And Justin, what did you think about last night?
Well, I mean, it is worth mentioning because they were actually only down 1 score. It was an 8-point game. And then
that's right, I guess. That's the safety made it to 10. You're right.
Yeah.
My bad. I was in a NyQuil haze and like half asleep, so I apologize.
Yeah, I've been in that same NyQuil haze, man, dude. Freaking sinus infections. Hate them.
Yeah.
But anyways, I love that game. That was a great game. That was just a good football game. You know what I mean? Like everybody ate. Defenses couldn't get anything going. And you just saw the kind of like the revitalization of the Rams season right there. It was really interesting to see that Kupp and Nakua both came out and were the same old. Like there was no rust on them whatsoever. Nakua was surprising me. I thought that guy was going to literally go for like 18 catches. He was so fucking good last night. Like he was pulling off catches. Like there was one drop that he had that I was just like, wait, he didn't catch that ball? I was like, what are you talking about? He didn't catch that ball? But yeah, it was a great game. Not quite the fantasy bonanza because you kind of would have wanted Jefferson to score and maybe a little bit more on the Viking side, but definitely a very fun game.
Yeah. We cannot mention Kyren Williams, by the way, too, really fast. Neither one of us did, and that's probably way off base from us because Kyren Williams is proving all the naysayers like myself wrong this year so far. So
yeah, I was going to say,
trying to give Williams his props there.
Kyren Williams is just a standard at this point. Like you just expect him to play good. Like, I was right there with you. I thought it was going to completely fall off. It has not fallen off. He is just literally routinely going over 100 yards from scrimmage.
Yep.
It's pretty impressive. Indeed, Justin Jefferson last night too, man. I was really impressed with the way it started for him anyway. I in fact faced him in two different leagues, and I'm sitting there like, bro, stop throwing it to him. But again, the struggles in the red zone, and when the Rams started to get some pressure, noticed that Sam Darnold got those little bit of happy feet and was unable to connect. That was pretty much the big difference in the game. But yeah, of course, when talk about the face mask and that as well, that should be something that I think they said next year they might start reviewing. Which I don't mind it, especially with something like that, But
Well, we've seen
Bro,
how
they were talking about the hip drop tackles like that too. Come on,
that's
bro.
true. That's true. Bro,
Which
I
that's
don't think
tougher
they
to say,
called
but
one this year, and it's banned.
well, yeah.
speaking
And
of
we've seen
hip-
how quick the intervention is from like wherever they're from. I'm going to say New York because I feel like that's where it always is. But we've seen how quick they intervene and change their call if they need to when that comes up. I don't see an issue with why they can't have it in that. Like all calls are privy to. If someone notices something egregious on a screen and cities away, they quickly call and say, "Hey, change your mind real fast."
Right.
It takes 2 seconds.
Exactly. Like we're not in caveman days where we're shooting Polaroids at stuff. I mean, so yeah, this should be an easy fixable thing. NFL usually is good on their feet when it comes to stuff like that, and I think they'll make that change for sure. All right. Well, speaking of scary and hip drop tackles, two things Brian loves to talk about. We're going to bring Bri from inside the medical tent along with Andrew with their infamous blog. They're going to bring some injury news for you guys. So me and Justin will step out for a bit. We'll see you in a minute.
A.J. Dillon just went into the medical tent a moment ago.
What a week
Sorry.
to be a Buck or 49er.
I heard hip drop tackle and I got triggered. I was spasming.
What a weird week. Evans, Godwin, Ayuk. I mean Samuel. I'm sorry. I trashed Samuel when I found out that because I was pissed because I started my home league. I ended up just sucking all together this week, so he didn't really cost me the week. But still, to find out 10 minutes before that he's not feeling good, I was like, "Oh, his little tummy ache, whatever."
I thought he actually played a couple snaps. Serious. I think he actually played a couple snaps.
He did try to play a couple snaps, but still, It sounds like we can quickly pass through Debo here. Sounds like he's feeling a lot better, but he's still questionable to play this week. And
I think we'll see him, though. I think we'll see him.
So in pneumonia, I'm assuming this is something we don't typically talk about in sports. Pneumonia, I'm assuming this is really going to be more of like a per body, per person situation, how fast you can recover from like kind of building your lungs back up, right?
I to be honest, I'm even skeptical that he had true pneumonia.
Okay.
If it was, it might have been some type of viral one because you usually don't recover from a bacterial pneumonia that fast. And if it was viral, usually you can get over that pretty quick with no major issues. So it sounds like that might have been the case. I don't know, but I think he's going to play. He should have enough days to kind of get himself into enough game shape that he should be ready. It didn't sound like it knocked him down that much as far as his health and illness goes. So we should see him.
Well, knocked him down enough to be out of my lineup last week, I guess. Well, to get me a 0, so where in my home league, if you have a player get under 1 point, you got to chug a drink and send a video of it too. So I had to do my first chug of the year. Thank you, Debo Samuel. Anyways, though, we're sticking with the 49ers. Obviously, Brendan Ayuk season-ending injury. Pretty nasty look there. So we know he's obviously done for this year. What's this look like in his preparation for next year, though?
Yeah, I mean, he'll almost definitely miss training camp and the start of the season. The question will be whether or not he comes back in that kind of 9 to 10 month magical window, or if it takes closer to a year. Now, with an MCL and an ACL, sometimes you can also throw the meniscus in there. They call it the unhappy triad. And if there is a meniscal injury on top of it, that could sometimes slow down the rehab a little bit, depending on what they have to do to address that during surgery. So that is something that could potentially cause his return to be closer to that 12-month mark. So that is definitely something to keep an eye on as we head into next season. But as far as this year goes, it's a wash.
Yeah, so we are now, you're confirming, we are officially in this window now to where if someone suffers an ACL, MCL injury now, that we have to worry about it for next season is too. So obviously, if it happens early enough in the season, they can be recovered before training camp and all that. But we're now in that window where it's a problem for next year as well.
Yeah, when you start getting into early November, end of October, early November, and then definitely into December, things become much less certain.
That makes sense. And then I guess to stick with the 49ers here, because we just got this word today now, Juwan Jennings also out now officially this week, which, a lot of people were probably going to look his way with the Ayuk injury after the 44 or so points he put up last time the team needed him. Big miss out here, and I think Kittle might even have a slight injury too. I think he's going to play, but
it sounds like he's going to play. He's listed as questionable with some type of foot sprain, but it sounds like he's trending toward playing.
It's just, I'm sorry, Justin, but it's looking pretty bleak in that core, that wide receiver core. Let's switch over to the Bucs real fast because we got to talk about Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. Mike Evans, it's a situation of I don't know what you expected. You're playing on it. We talk about hamstrings every year. It's gotten to the point that in the blog that we almost dread. It feels like a waste of time to talk about them because we say the same thing every time. You play on a hamstring injury.
I almost feel like Mike Evans has had a dedicated slot in our blog too. I feel like he's been there a lot. Yeah.
Which is why I stopped drafting him in fantasy. And I don't know what he expected to happen here. I don't know what the team expected to happen here. He very clearly had a pretty significant hamstring injury all week leading up to the game, and then he plays. Yes, he gets his touchdown, his 100th touchdown, whatever it was, but now they're going to be without him probably for like a month. Would you say a month is a fair time frame here, or it could be more? I'm assuming.
Yeah, part of that reason is because they have a week 11 bye, so to try and rush him back before that really doesn't make much sense. Right. So it's going to be at least a month now before you see him back. And that's assuming that his recovery goes well. It was not a serious strain, but even mild to moderate strain, that potentially can take several weeks. So
right, at the time of his injury, I'm sure some fans were like, okay, fine, like that's a big loss. It's probably stupid, but we still have Chris Godwin.
Not anymore.
And then in zero time at the end of the game, Chris Godwin just snapped his ankle, his leg. Was it his ankle or is it his leg? I still haven't really got clarification. What part did he fully break?
I'm not exactly sure either. My guess, I think he actually dislocated his ankle. So he's probably got multiple fractures in and around the ankle that caused the joint to dislocate. That's my guess. That's what it sounded like and what it looked like based on the injury and his position while he was lying on the field there face down. Whoever thought that a guy who got shot in the chest would have made it back before and played probably a healthier season and a longer season than some of these big stars that they have on their team. Isn't that crazy?
It's insane to think of that way. And when you put it like that, it is insane. In the meantime, K. Dotton already saw some increased production with Mike Evans going down. He had a 100-yard game. And so I expect to continue to see that. You see that on Sophistication Station later. But after that, in that receiving core for the Bucs as well, we'll see. You got McMillan, you got Sterling Shepard, who's down there, who is the savvy vet in the slot, who I kind of expect Sterling Shepard could be the guy that steps in here and really has some success for the Bucs, because Baker is going to have to keep throwing to someone. Their running backs, they got all three running backs involved this past week: Rashard White, Bucky Irving, and I am blanking on the freaking other guy right now because I'm moving too fast and on cough medicine. But
well, they're all three are probably going to play because Bucky Irving was dealing with some toe injury and he's questionable, but it sounds like he's going to play. But I think they're going to do it by committee this weekend.
It does seem like that. So they're going to have to keep them all involved is what I'm getting at. So I'm fine, honestly, playing any of them at this point. Even Rashard White, who has pissed me off all year, he might be a serviceable flex play at this point. The only other guy I want to get to real fast, Jaden Daniels, because that's another big name that got hurt this week. A lot of people are counting on. What's it looking like for him? I'm kind of hearing mixed reports that he might play, he might not play. Where do you stand on him?
Well, originally they said he was going to be week to week. It didn't sound like he had any fractured ribs. It was just like bad contusion or sprain, and that was good news. But then they said it's going to be week to week, and then lo and behold, he actually practiced today. And now they're saying he might actually be a true game time decision, that he pushed it pretty hard in practice. They're going to see how he responds over the next 48 hours before they make a final decision. So he's carrying a questionable tag, and this literally could come down to how he feels the morning of this game and then during warmups. So keep an eye out there. A couple of players I do want to mention because they are big names and we might not have time to get to them real quick, though. Derek Carr listed as doubtful with that oblique injury. He was throwing all week, but didn't really do much else at practice, carrying a doubtful tag. So I don't think we're going to see him just yet. Aiden O'Connell out with a fractured thumb. He's going on IR. Tua cleared concussion protocol, if you can believe that. He'll suit up minus the Guardian cap. Jonathan Taylor cleared from the injury report. He will return to the lineup this weekend. Travis Etienne, another questionable tag, another game time decision for him, along with Tyjae Spears. Alvin Kamara, playing apparently with a broken hand and a broken rib since week 5, is cleared and still going to play regardless after signing a new big extension. The other player that I really wanted to mention was DK Metcalf. He has an MCL sprain. They're calling it mild. I thought he might have had a chance to get back this week, but now they're saying he's doubtful, which means he's not likely to play, although they also are kind of hinting that he might be ready. But when you carry a doubtful tag, it's usually less likely. And then Dallas Goedert with the hamstring injury out. He'll likely be out for several weeks. And then Taysom Hill, everyone's been asking me, he's actually going to come back. He returned to a full practice today with rib fractures in week 5. He had a limited practice 4 days in a row and then returned in full today. And with Jawan Johnson dealing with his own shoulder injury, it sounds like Taysom Hill will suit up and play.
A lot of possible value involved with those injuries. Stay tuned. Check in with us on Sunday morning as well for the updated latest injuries going into the Sunday games. In the meantime, though, thank you, Brian. We'll see you Sunday before Halloween. So I won't say Happy Halloween yet. Yeah. And hopefully things are less scary for us Sunday. In the meantime, let's shoot over to hear from our friends over at NeuroGuard, and then we'll continue on with the show.
Dr. Michael Hutchison has harnessed the latest in neuromuscular dentistry and impact technology to develop a mouthguard that does more than protect. It enhances. NeuroGuard Plus isn't just a mouthguard. By focusing on the jaw's physiological position, it provides an added layer of neuroprotection, significantly reducing the risk of sports-related neurological injuries. All athletes should be using a custom mouthguard designed to their bite position. NeuroGuard Plus was created as a means to maintain your physiological jaw position regardless of your bite. The appliance is designed to optimize your upper-lower jaw relationship to improve your strength, your balance, your oxygen intake, and drastically lower your chance of a concussion. Independent studies have shown that the NeuroGuard Plus will provide you with improvement to both upper and lower body strength. The same improvements were not present with a common mouthguard. Over 6,500 athletes have used the NeuroGuard Plus. Dr. Hutchison is happy to say that the amount of diagnosed concussions is 0.2%. The NeuroGuard Plus offers athletes, coaches, and parents an advantage to keep their players safe on the field. If you or your child actively participates in athletics, they need to be protected from the dangers of repetitive head trauma. Get your NeuroGuard Plus mouthguard today. Click on the link and use code ILP Sports for 10% discount on your purchase.
All righty. Well, we're going to start out with a little Halloween fun. Ooh, I'm on the bottom. I like it down there. All right, let's get started. Let's get started with our fun little Halloween segment. We'll kind of break it up, and I'll do mine first, if you gentlemen don't mind, with our old friend You Got Ghosted. I'm going to start out tonight at the QB position, and I hate to do it, but I gotta be real. Tua! Although it's Tua time this week, if you drafted Tua, you were looking more at that Jared Goff mid-range. He was going as QB number 13, 110th pick overall. Right now, Mr. Tua is 36. Oh my God, and QB fantasy points. It's gross. I can't believe it. He's going to make a big bounce back, of course. But if you drafted Tua,
you got ghosted.
Oh, it's true. All right, let's go to my next one in the running back position. And I know this one by heart because it's Isaiah Pacheco, drafted the 24th pick overall. He was RB number 12, so he was someone's RB1 and a couple of people's RB2s. And right now, your boy Pacheco, and I know it's injury, so it's cool, but if you drafted him early,
you got ghosted.
Number 56 right now overall. Ugh. Chris Olave is in my receiver position. He was drafted overall around that 25th pick. He was wide receiver number 14 in ADP. And right now, he is currently number 62 overall. If you drafted Chris Olave,
You got ghosted.
and now one more finished up at the tight end slot. And it's kind of tough to call the overall in these picks because you can go tight end pretty late, but a lot of people have a lot of faith in Evan Ingram this year. He was drafted as tight end number 8 overall. Right now, Evan Ingram is tight end number 42. If you drafted Evan Ingram,
You got ghosted.
oh, it's true. All right, let's get down. We got to talk about week 8 and get you out of that scary vibe with the breakdown. Break it on down, Mr. Freddie. All right, let's get it started with week 1, Jags at Packers. Jags right now, dead last against fantasy QBs, against running backs are 27. Receivers, they're 30th, and tight end number 26. Packers, 6th against QBs, 18th versus running backs, 13th versus receivers, and 24th against tight ends. What say you, Leduc? Give me some guys you like and don't.
I'm still going to continue to like Brian Thomas for the Jaguars, but this is not going to be the week that I'm going to expect too much out of this Jags team. Coming back from London, coming back from a softball of a game against the Pats, they looked better than they are. Evan Ingram, I do think might be on the rise. He's starting to click with Lawrence a little bit, so I'm not going to sleep on Ingram. But other than that, it's still just going to be Brian Thomas. I believe in this Packers defense, and I think they're going to be able to bottle up Tank Bigsby and company for the most part. And then from the other side, though, from the Packers side, Jordan Love should be able to handle this defense if he could just stop throwing interceptions. He has been a killer this year when it comes to fantasy because he's looking like he has a good game. He's got all these talented wide receivers. He's got a lot of yards, and then he throws you 2 or 3 picks. And next thing you know, he's just an average fantasy quarterback. So that's a stinker right there. Tucker Kraft, the main guy I want to mention here. I think Tucker Kraft is a guy who is going to continue to stay relevant in the tight end scene and someone who should have pretty decent success this week.
Justin, agree, disagree? What say you? And you're muted.
I'm mute.
First off, Commish, your team is like the all zombie team, dude. Like you have to be like averaging like 2 missed games to be on that team.
I didn't have time to do a lot of research. All right, my bad.
I had to give you a little shit because I noticed that going down. I'm just like, he's missed the game. He's missed the game. He's missed 3 games.
Well, you still got ghosted. So.
You did. You still got ghosted. You drafted him, sucker. But I'll disagree on one thing with Leduc. I think Evan Ingram is truly the motor behind this offense. I think he's the reason they get downfield. Brian Thomas is great taking the top off, and he's done that all season long. But as we've seen in the past, Evan Ingram is the kind of guy to get you 10 receptions and 100 yards and still be like forgiven for not scoring that touchdown because he's the guy between the 20s that gets the ball, whereas Brian Thomas is the guy who gets the ball and takes it to the touchdown. So I'm never going to – if Evan Ingram's healthy, I'm always going to put him in my lineup. And then on the Packers side, it's hard picking one of those wide receivers. But I'll say this, the one thing that I do know about Jordan Love is somehow he likes Dontavian Wicks because even on Dontavian Wicks' worst days, he still gets targeted like 7 times. And a couple of those are in the red zone. So there's always a chance with Dontavian Wicks to score a touchdown. So just a little flex throw in there. I think Dontavian Wicks is almost a flex starter from now on.
I like that indeed. We got a question in before we move to our next one. It's from Paraco. Or if I'm probably messing that all up, my bad. Trade Mahomes plus Brees, or I guess for Kyron or Jaden Daniels, Pollards, and Neighbors. Redraft Superflex. Wide receiver now is Jefferson, and the other QBs are Richardson, Jameis Winston, now Estada, and he's 2-5. So can't decide which RB to trade. All right, so we'll go to Justin first. What do you think?
I would trade Mahomes and Brees, and yeah, I think that's a great haul on the return. Jaden Daniels has proven to be a way better fantasy option than seems like almost 90% of the quarterbacks out there. Pollard's still doing good work, even though Tennessee sucks. Pollard has proven that running game is still working. And Neighbors, yeah, if you didn't pick Neighbors, you're kind of regretting it sometimes. So I think that's a great haul on the rebound, and I think that if you can pull that off, you can definitely get a couple wins under your belt.
Yeah, I say smash that button. That's a real good one there, especially if you're 2-5. That'll kickstart you some good points all the way overall. LeDuc, you agree, disagree?
Yeah, I don't mind this trade, but something to mention is that this trade now can't happen until after this week since Kyron Williams played last night. So you got to think about that if you're trading away or you're trading for Daniels and Pollard, hoping that they can help you this week. You're tough out of luck. You guys still got to think of this week now and think ahead after.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for your comment. We appreciate you. Let's get to the next one. We do have another comment. We'll get to that in a second. Let's talk about the Cardinals at America's team, the Miami Dolphins, and it's Tua time down in Miami. I'll be down there loud and proud, excited to see our boy back. Cardinals are 28th against fantasy QBs, 20th against running backs, 26th against receivers, and 19th against tight ends. The Dolphins, number 1 against fantasy QBs. They're 26 against running backs. They're number 1 against receivers and number 3 against tight ends. So that's
Commissioner, what is it? What is it? Is it Tua time?
Like, oh. Anyway, what do you like in this matchup, Dick?
Oh, man. Well, I mean, I love all the Dolphins again, man. Shit. This is a great game for them to have a rebound. Arizona has 0 defense. I don't even think they have a defensive coordinator. It's so bad in Arizona right now on defense. So, yeah, I mean, this is a game where hopefully Tyreek is relevant again. Hopefully Waddle can be relevant again. I know A-Chain's going to be relevant for sure. But, I think that the weirdest thing that comes from losing players is you find players. And one guy the Dolphins found was Jonnu Smith, because this is a guy who consistently, through whatever quarterback they had back there, played his ass off and played good for fantasy. So guess what? You think Tua didn't see that and said, oh, shit, I got another target? Oh, shit, he's a big tight end who can actually run pretty fast? Yeah, he saw that. And he's going to start using him in those red zone areas. So Jonnu Smith is one guy. Maybe start thinking about DFS every single week, especially this week against a soft Arizona defense. I would start thinking about him. On the Cardinals side, it's almost kind of the same story. Dolphins are okay on defense, not great. So, Marvin Harrison Jr., I know you teeter, but you can't really teeter because like Tyreek. If you don't put him in, you're going to fucking hit yourself. And if you put him in, you're going to go, why did I put him in? But you know what? You drafted him so high, you have to put him in. Not touching Michael Wilson, start up Connor, and then McBride as well. I'm sorry, I took them all from you, Duke.
No, that's fine. You said one thing that you didn't say one thing that I wanted to say. So I agree with you. Just start Miami this week because it does feel like it's going to be let's get our shit together. And right, we started in the comments from Tyreek Hill already. Like he's hyped up. And I've been trying to trade for Jalen Waddle all week because I think it's just going to be like a short-term burst here where I want to get him now. One key stat to note here when it comes to Arizona. Call of Duty Black Ops 6 dropped today. Kyler Murray, this is not the weekend to play an Arizona Cardinal with Kyler Murray at quarterback because that man is going to be logging his entire weekend on that game, which means he's going to be getting you about 9 points. So forget all the Cardinals. It's Call of Duty weekend, which means Kyler Murray is in the tank.
Dolphin time. Let's go. All right, real quick, just some clarification from the early guest. So he agreed to do it next week already, but he was just trying to decide on the RB. So
yeah, that makes sense. Then I mean, Kyron and Pollard over Brees right now makes perfect sense.
Yeah, so I think we all agree there. All right, cool. Thank you, sir. Appreciate the clarification. Also, real quick before we get to the next one, RGQ in the house. Thank you so much. Who do I start this week? Mahomes, Mayfield, Cousins, or Bo Nix, who's like, I was looking at that today. He's like 14th overall this year. He has Mahomes and Mayfield. So what do you think, LeDuc? Who does he go this week?
I'm gonna say actually Mahomes and Cousins. I think that game's gonna have some points in it. So I like Cousins this week. He's in my DFS lineup this week. So Cousins for sure. And then Mahomes. At some point, something's gotta go a Mahomes way, like as far as the game and fantasy points wise. And I just don't trust what Tampa's got going in the receiving core right now to start Mayfield. I gotta see it. I got to see what's cooking before I can play him over Mahomes. So I'm going to stick with Mahomes right now, but we'll see next week.
Justin, what are you going to say?
I just want to throw this out here. Mahomes did say the next time he plays Vegas, it'll be handled when it gets handled. I think it's going to get handled this week. I think he is going to make DeAndre Hopkins look amazing, and I think he's just going to constantly put it on the Raiders.
I need it for my home league so bad. I need to snatch solo first place back.
Yeah, it was funny when that news broke. It was early in the morning, and I just so happened to be up at the time, and it was right when the news was breaking. It was just about that time. I was like, oh, I'm going boom. Every league, I don't pick Mr. Hopkins up because everyone, he was on every waiver wire I looked at. So everyone got faith in him. Yeah, it was crazy.
He wasn't on any of my leagues, so I couldn't get him anywhere.
Yeah, I was real quick with it.
I had to go negotiating to try and get him. What?
Yep. All right. Well, thank you guys for your questions. Let's go to the next one. I hate to bring things down, but we're going to go Jets at Patriots. The Jets are number 5 against fantasy QBs, 10th against running backs, 5th against receivers, or 9th against tight ends. The Patriots are 11th against fantasy QBs, 30th against running backs, 22nd against receivers, and 12th against tight ends. LeDuc, got to give it to you. It's your home squad. What do you think? Who wins and why? Oh, well, my bad. Who do you like? I'm on the wrong show.
wrong day. Let's not pretend like the Jets are a good team just because the Patriots are a bad team. But here's what I like. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to continue to try to pepper Devontae Adams. I was surprised and optimistic with how much Garrett Wilson was also still involved. I know it didn't turn into a win for them last week, but I still like both Wilson and Adams, but as wide receiver 2-ish range, not necessarily my top guy there. Breece Hall is probably going to continue to he's actually probably going to have a decent game against the Patriots because the Patriots can't stop shit on the run right now. I actually still I considered starting Drake May this week in one league in a 2 QB league in a super flex. So I think Drake May is going to still be able to put up 15-ish points with how much they're going to have to throw the ball. They're probably going to be down. Who he throws the ball to, I couldn't tell you. This wide receiver, I don't know if you guys heard the reports this week about London and this wide receiver crew and them just partying the night before, being hungover and basically demanding trades and it's an absolute mess from a bunch of scrubs. They are acting like they are Devontae Adams when they shouldn't even be on the field on most teams. So Hunter Henry, I think there's going to be some poetic justice. If May's thrown it to anyone this week, I think he's thrown it to Hunter Henry.
TY, I appreciate all that you said. And I'm just going to say thank you so much for all the commenters on Sunday who just continued to ask about Demario Douglas. Ain't nobody on this show starting him. Stop asking. What do you think, Justin?
Yeah, I just dropped him actually to go out and get me somebody a little bit more relevant. But yeah. No, I actually got Cedric Tillman. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what I can add other than wow, they really thought that they were that important that they went out, drank, and demanded trades. That's some ballsy move right there.
Jalen Polk is a buster. A buster.
Wow. A buster.
Oh
I want him off
God,
this team.
dude.
I freaking hate this guy. He's an annoying
So-
little scrub.
Are we gonna see Javon Baker then? Are they gonna finally?
No,
make
because
him
he just
active?
sucks. No, because he just sucks. He doesn't have the mindset to be a professional receiver right now. That's the problem with him. He can't even get on the field.
He said,
So,
no,
so you're telling me that Bill Belichick is gone, but they're still drafting like he's in the building?
Yes.
I just wanted to hear it. But anyways, I'll say this. I like that Drake May kid. I like the Hunter Henry connection. I think I agree with LeDuc. If they're going to score in any way, shape, or form, it's going to be through those two guys.
Yep.
Indeed. All right, let's go on to the Ravens at the Browns. The Ravens are 30th against fantasy QBs, 14th against running backs, 30th against receivers, 27th against tight ends. Browns 15th against QBs, 5th against running backs, 27th against receivers, and 4th against tight ends. All right, Justin, guys you like and don't like.
Bro, it's so exciting having an actual quarterback with the Browns because now their defense looks good because they're not on the field for 60 minutes. You know, it's crazy that Deshaun is hated so much that he got booed / cheered off the field. That is, that might be a little different there, but some people call it karma. I call it just a sad way to go. But anyways, I am all in on the Browns being okay after this week. I think we saw what happened when Joe Flacco took over, and guess who got fed? David Njoku. David Njoku. Remember that name, David Njoku, because you're going to want him in your DFS goddamn lineups. This Ravens team could not guard anybody. I mean, literally look at their past couple scores. It's like 30, 23, 30, blah, blah. The defense is crap. The offense is amazing. MVP Lamar, go for the three-peat, my friend. But you want to talk about that defense? That defense is terrible. Is terrible. And you know what? I'm happy I got Cedric Tillman because I think he has a good chance to bust up. I don't know about Elijah Moore, Jerry Jeudy. I don't feel safe with those guys. Kind of seems like you want the deep shot with Jameis Winston. That's kind of what he's got. And guess who got the deep shot? Cedric Tillman, baby. I'm telling you, remember that name. He might save your fantasy leagues this year. But and then you already know on the Ravens side, fucking stick everybody in that fucking thing. You can't not stick everybody in that game.
In the interest of time, LeDuc, you have anything to add, or because we're at like 45 minutes? And
I'll quickly say I do believe in Jerry Jeudy. I think he's actually going to be the guy because I think he's looking for a career revitalization. And what better guy to serve him up on that plate is Jameis Winston, who has also already gone through a career revitalization and trying to continue that. So Winston to Jeudy feels natural. And then don't sleep on Justice Hill on the Ravens. Like you said, stick everyone on the Ravens 100%. But Justice Hill is getting himself involved. So, yeah.
Quick shameless plug. I do a show on Wednesday with former tight end from the Titans, Ben Troop. And we had this conversation about Lamar because on the other show, Blonde Blitz, we heard the expert Alex White mentioned that right now the MVP for in Vegas, the top odds to get MVP was Lamar Jackson. And I'm really kind of miffed by that, to be honest with you, because Derrick Henry is what makes this team go. Let's not get it twisted right now. I know Lamar's Lamar, and usually he is the man, but not this year. So me personally, I like Derrick Henry to be MVP. That's what I see. But all right, let's move on. We got a lot to get to. Eagles
almost as I like Chris McCaffrey to be MVP last year too, and Lamar still won that shit.
It is true. It always goes to the QB position because I think she said number two, get ready, Pat Mahomes. I'm like, what? Really? Like that? I mean, they're winning games and he's doing great things, obviously, by winning, but this is not a Pat Mahomes MVP season by a long shot. That's just crazy to me. All right, let's get on with it. Eagles at Bengals. Eagles against fantasy QBs are 15th, against running back 6th, 23rd against receivers, and number 1 against tight ends. Bengals are 26th against QBs, 15th against running backs, 17th against receivers, and 29th against tight ends. What say you guys you like and don't like?
I'll just stick with guys I don't like in this game because it's pretty simple. Like, there's a lot of guys that you would draft on both teams. I'm going to say I don't start any of the Eagles tight ends. I know it's not Goddard anymore. I think it's Calcaterra. That goes the same for the Bengals. And then, I think if you got like a real start of the week, I think Devonta Smith comes back strong in this game. He went for, I think, like -4 yards and 1 catch. I think he really does come back strong in this game. Jalen Hurts has been very unimpressive, and I'm surprised that he's as high as he has been. He's had a couple of good games that have been able to bounce back. That's fantasy for you. But overall, he's been kind of a little bit unimpressive. And then Burrow's been a little underwhelming himself, but I'm not going to knock either one of those quarterbacks out of my lineup this week. Those defenses are really soft.
Soft, indeed. Leduc, anything to add or subtract?
This was Bengals and Eagles, right? Now that I'm back.
Sir.
All right. I'm going to continue like Chase Brown. I'm going to keep things quick from now on for the rest of the night. Chase Brown, I like. Obviously, T. Higgins watched that injury. He got hurt in practice today, so that's going to be a big deal. And then in Philly, it sounded like, honestly, Justin nailed it. All the guys that I like, he likes too. So I'm cool with the way that's going. I like the Devontae Smith call.
Justin nailed it indeed. All right, let's go. Next one, Colts at Texans. Colts are 23rd against fantasy QBs, 21st against running backs, 16th against receivers, and 30th against tight ends. Texans, 24th against QBs, 4th against running backs, 21st against receivers, and 6th against tight ends. What say you, Leduc, guys you like and don't like?
Colts, it's really just Jonathan Taylor. I can't trust anyone in this passing game right now, including Anthony Richardson. So it's really just Jonathan Taylor. He looks like he's going to be back and probably back to his normal form. So I'm cool with that. And then from the Titans standpoint, it's going to,
It's
Texans. I got my T's mixed up. From the Texans standpoint, sorry, I swallowed a cough drop. The Joe Mixon looks to continue what he's been doing. I like him moving forward for the rest of the season now that it seems like he's fully back to healthy. Tank Dell is still going to be a boomer bust, so this is still just a Joe Mixon, Stephon Diggs kind of scenario for me. Dalton Schultz should still be available and used often in the red zone, but other than that, I think he's pretty touchdown dependent at this point.
Boy, everybody's got cough drops in. It's fall, must be, right? All right. Let's go on to the next one. Titans at Lions. Against fantasy QBs, they're 17th. The Titans, they're 11th against running backs, 6th against receivers, and 2nd against tight ends. Lions, 13th against QBs, number 2 against fantasy running backs. Might be a tough day for Pollard. 31st, though, against receivers, and 5th against tight ends. Justin, guys you like and don't like?
Tony Pollard, play him. Detroit side, I probably don't like Laporta. And then, Jameson Williams being out with suspension.
Who replaced Justin with Freddie?
What's up?
You can't make me laugh right now, man.
Fucking asshole. I'm gonna say cut Jared Goff from your team. Don't put him in there on the starting lineup. I don't think
cut him from the team. Is that what you just said?
Yeah, cut him from the team. Put somebody else in. Hendon Hooker. Put him in.
All righty. Yeah, it might be a little tough sledding for Pollard in my estimation, but you know who? Somebody I don't remember if Brian brought him up or not, but Calvin Ridley came up on the injury report, and I was really kind of high on him being with Hopkins gone. Not that this is some crazy offense, but he's definitely their number 1 now. So we'll see if he plays, but he could be a nice play for your DFS lineups. So again, Lions a little soft in the secondary. So, all right, let's go on Falcons at Bucks. The Falcons are 22nd against QBs, 7th against running backs. They're 24th against receivers and 15th against tight ends. The Bucks are 31st against QBs, 24th against running backs, or 28th against receivers, and 23rd against tight ends. Ugh. What say you, LeDuc? Guys, you like and don't like?
Yeah, like I said earlier, this is going to be a game where I think there's going to be fantasy points. I like Cousins and Drake London, so give me that all day. As far as guys I don't like, I'm not necessarily super high on Darnell Mooney. I really think this is going to be more of a Cousins London Pitts game. And then from the Bucs standpoint, I do like Sterling Shepard. I think Sterling Shepard is going to slide right into that kind of traditional slot role that we saw him play successfully when he was healthy in New York. And I think Baker's really going to have to lean on some veteran experience here. So I like the three-headed backfield with Tucker, Irving, and White's going to be involved in passing. And then, like I said earlier, I think K-Dot, and I am super high on K-Dot this week. Sterling Shepard is the sneaky play, though.
I feel like I'm hearing Kate Otten too much. That's when it's going to be like womp womp.
I know,
but we'll see. But I mean, it plays. Definitely this game should play out in that as long as Kirk Cousins. Like I feel like that last week, he had the bad game, and that's Kirk Cousins, like a roller coaster. I think this week could be a great week for him. Of course, Baker's going to have to throw them into this game, and without his two main weapons. Cade Otton was getting targets before, while he had the two big dogs. So we'll see how that plays out. It'll be really interesting. Baker Mayfield, I just can't believe what a great season he's had so far. All right, before we get to our 4:00 games, we're going to go to LeDuc real quick after he coughs up a lung, and we're going to hear his who got ghosted. So let's start with the QB position there, Mr. LeDuc.
Yeah, for me, I got ghosted by Patrick Mahomes. I don't often have Mahomes on my team. This year, I took the leap with him, and I'm getting, 20th plus ranked quarterback. So that's absolutely what's holding me back from being quite possibly undefeated in my home league this year. So thank you for Mahomes for ghosting me.
You got ghosted.
And then the other guy who we just talked about who's starting to pick it up now is Rashard White. He's getting involved now, of course, after I've decided to bench him, and I think I even traded him away now. So Rashard, I don't know what the hell you're mouthing. I hope you're not talking to me because I
was talking to myself because that's actually Brandon Ayuk, and I labeled it incorrectly. So
that's funny. But Rashard White was not. I drafted him hoping to be my RB2, and he's just not put up RB2 numbers that I needed. So Rashard White, you have also ghosted me this year. I don't know what's going on.
You got ghosted.
And then unlike, I know he's injured now, but I'm not going full Cooper here. Brandon Ayuk, he was ghosting me before this injury. I think he only had one double-digit week so far in fantasy, at least in my home league. So Brandon Ayuk absolutely crushing me, who I was hoping was going to be a wide receiver one. So you can just go back to the attic, you stupid ghost.
You got ghosted.
All right, let's get on to the 4:00 games. Let's go. The Saints at Chargers. Saints against fantasy QBs, number 7 in the league. 28th against running backs. They're 20th against receivers, 17th against tight ends. Chargers 9th against QBs, 3rd against running backs, 3rd against receivers, and 21st against tight ends. Defense is pretty legit. Nobody's really I don't hear them being talked about much, but defense is pretty solid. Justin, what do you say, though? Guys you like and don't like?
Play the kickers. That's it. Play the kickers. I can play the kickers. Justin Herbert's useless. J.K. Dobbins is useless. Play the kickers.
I think I like J.K. in this one. I wouldn't mind playing them. Saints are pretty soft against the run.
I thought that about Arizona too, and then he fucking dealt out like a 9-burger. Come on, bro.
Listen, how much hate I've always had for J.K. Dobbins, so it's really a stretch for me to give him some love. But I mean, he has had some good games. And this just could be matchup worthy for him. I don't expect the Saints to jump up on the Chargers, so you can expect them to keep running the football during this game. So at least as far as touches are concerned, I could see Mr. J to the K having a decent game. But other than that, I agree. There's not much else I really like other than Chargers defense, too. I think I wouldn't mind playing them as banged up as the Saints are. All right, let's go. Bills at Seahawks. Bills 8th against QBs, 31st against running backs, 9th against receivers, and 16th against tight ends. Seahawks 19th against QBs, 22nd against running backs, 14th against receivers, and 25th against tight ends. So what say you, Leduc, guys, you like and don't like?
With the DK injury looming, I like JSN this week, Jackson Smith and Jigba. And Geno Smith, I think, could make a return to some fantasy greatness here. Sorry, I am struggling holding back this cough right now. And then in Buffalo, Amari Cooper, I think he's just going to continue to get more comfortable there, even if he has to ask Keon Coleman what the play is. That shouldn't matter to when you got Josh Allen throwing you the ball, so I'm fine. This should actually be a sneaky, a good point-scoring game, I think. So, yeah, Cooper, JSN, I'm going to go cough now.
I like it. Scary call from Leduc. Bears at Commanders. This would be an interesting game if Jaden Daniels could get out there, but we'll see if that happens. Bears are number 2 against fantasy QBs, 13th against running backs, 7th against receivers, and 11th against tight ends. The Commanders 18th against QBs, 16th against running backs, 25th against receivers, and 13th against tight ends. So, Justin, what say you guys you like and don't like?
Caleb and Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels plays. I like Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels also is backup. Mariota, not a bad option. Would not start him, but guess what? He does kind of bring a little bit of life to the offense, as far as like being okay with playing Scary Terry, being okay with playing, Brian Robinson Jr. out there. Noah Brown, not going to play him. Let's see. Zach Ertz, easily. He's a good tight end. He's doing pretty good this year. And then on the Bears side, let's go with DJ Moore. And let's go with Cole Kmet. I think Cole Kmet's due for a good game in this one.
I feel like in this, we're going to see a Keenan Allen touchdown as well. We've seen it all year long. Commander's so soft in the secondary. So I like any receiver except a Dunze because they ain't done a done damn thing. All right, Chiefs at Raiders. Chiefs are 20th against fantasy QBs, number 1 against running backs, number 4 against receivers, and dead last against tight ends. Raiders 21st against QBs, 25th against running backs, number 8 against receivers, and 8 against tight ends. So, Leduc, guys you like and don't like.
Like I said earlier, I think this could be a nice vintage Patrick Mahomes game, which means Xavier Worthy should get himself involved, Kareem Hunt, and I think we finally might see Travis Kelce return to his touchdown greatness. From the Raiders side, I hope they get a good night's sleep.
Maybe Trey Tucker. We kept hearing that name so much. I mean, the Raiders are going to have to throw the football.
Brock
Bowers, maybe some Trey Tucker mixed in there. But other than that, man, this Chiefs D is pretty dang good. That's why the Pat Mahomes, MVP doesn't make no damn sense to me. So I like that analysis, my friend. All right, let's go Panthers at Broncos.
One second. If you drafted any of the Raiders,
you got ghosted.
Use with your curveball there.
Panthers against fantasy QBs are 29th. They're dead last against running backs, 19th against receivers, and 28th against tight ends. Broncos 3rd against QBs, 12th against running backs, number 2 against receivers, and 20th against tight ends. So let's go to Justin. What say you guys you like and don't like?
Fudge. I can't even remember what this game was.
It was Broncos and
the Panthers. Oh, that's why. Because it was the Broncos and the Panthers. Because it's Bryce Young playing again. So everybody is back to ground zero on the Panthers side. All the weeks of building up Jatavion Sanders to be an irrelevant fantasy player are going to go straight to the crapper. Yeah, so this week, dial up Bo Nix, dial up Troy Franklin. I think Troy Franklin gets his first touchdown this week. He has been killing it on offense. He has just been a touchdown shy of being a elite wide receiver 2 on your fantasy roster, at least a good flex. And then, Javonte Williams showed a lot last week, and Carolina has been absolutely terrible against the running back position. So, yeah, play Javonte Williams, play Bo Nix, and please just do it for Justin. Just do it for Jesus. Play Troy Franklin.
Play Troy Franklin, he says. A name out of nowhere. All right, let's go. Sunday Night Delight. Cowboys at the Niners. 27th against QBs are the Cowboys, 29th against running backs, 18th against receivers, and 10th against tight ends. The 49ers are 12th against QBs, 19th against running backs, 11th against receivers, and 14th against tight ends. All right, I know we're out of order, but I got to go back to Justin. This is your boys. Give me guys you like and don't like.
No, I don't want to talk about this issue. You can go to Leduc.
All right, Leduc, give me guys you like and don't like.
I'll throw a couple names out there real quick. I was only kidding about that part. Throw out Jacob Cowing. Jacob Cowing is a very interesting flex / DFS play. We saw last week that he can break coverages. He's the over-the-top threat that Kyle Shanahan didn't even know was right under his nose, his arrogant fucking fat face. And then, I've got some issues right now. But also, Ricky Pearsall is an interesting option based on the fact that who the Cowboys have out there right now. You expect Trayvon Diggs to be on Deebo Samuel if he's playing. So look for Ricky Pearsall to have the number 2. And I like what I saw with Ricky in this pass game. Another week of practice, getting up to date. Brock Purdy getting in rhythm with these guys. Hopefully that transitions to a bigger day for these rookies. And then George Kittle. How do you sit George Kittle? Plus that defense, for whatever it is, knock on wood, whatever it is, they always seem to take the ball away when Dak Prescott is throwing it. It happens. So play that defense. No matter how dinged up they are, they still got Fred Warner. They still got Nick Bosa. They can still cause a lot of havoc.
I mean, and he's been giving it up all year long. So I feel you on that. 49ers think a good bounce back game for them. Cowboys just absolutely atrocious this year. All right, let's finish it up, Leduc, on Monday night. Giants at Steelers. Giants against fantasy QBs are 25th, 17th against running backs. They're 15th against receivers, 7th against tight ends. Steelers, number 4 against QBs, 9th against running backs, 10th against receivers, and they are 22nd against tight ends. So give me guys you like and don't like.
Not the night to be playing Tyrone Tracy, unfortunately. I know everyone's high on him right now and excited, and I get it. I'm there, just not this week. So I'm down on the Tyrone Tracy train this week. I'm actually surprising myself and saying that I kind of like Najee Harris this week because I think the Steelers will control this game. He's starting to look like he might be catching a rhythm. So I'm up on Harris, down on Tracy, and curious to see if Russell Wilson can continue to get some of these other guys involved other than George Pickens. So, but I'm mainly looking at the running backs here. I think it's going to be a bit more of a controlled, slower game.
We'll see. I felt like Russell Wilson was dropping some dimes. Although, if it wasn't a George Pickens, I'm not sure they had been caught, to be honest, because a few of them looked a little short. But maybe that's just, kind of the little feel between them two. Definitely got some chemistry between the two. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. All right, before we finish up, of course, we got to get to our boy Justin's You Got Ghosted. So the woo. Let's get to your QB position.
All right, hold on one second. All right, there you go. Thank you, Leduc. I was like, I gotta cue this shit up too.
No,
we talked about a pre-show.
He really is. He really is, Freddie.
No, I thought. All right. Anyways, doesn't matter what I think. It only matters that Jalen Hurts, if you drafted him this week, or if you drafted him this year, you have been ghosted because this guy has been absolutely abysmal with the football in his hands. He's got 3 fumbles. He's got 3 interceptions. You know, he's starting to pick it up this past couple of weeks, which is great. He's got you that 9th position as the quarterback. But if you were looking at him previous to week 5, you would have gone, oh, God. This guy was QB2 last year. So if you've drafted Jalen Hurts for the first 5 weeks, you got ghosted.
You got ghosted.
All right. And then we got Josh Jacobs. So Josh Jacobs, if you drafted him, you were thinking to yourself, oh, man, I got a steal. I got an RB1 in the later rounds. Like, we're talking round 4 and 5. Like, this guy is going to be great. And guess what? You weren't wrong because he's gotten that RB1 volume, but he has not got that RB1 production. So as of right now, he sits as RB17. That's 5 spots away from RB12, bud. That means you're not an RB1, bud. That means that if you drafted Josh Jacobs, you got ghosted.
You got ghosted.
And this is a guy that I never thought that I would put on this list. I mean, he was drafted number 1 by some Dolphins super fans. I mean, he was just the darling, the belle of the ball. But you know what? I was scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling to find him on the list. I think I ended up with somewhere around 50. Yeah, that's right. If you drafted Tyreek Hill, you better pray to Tua because you got good.
You got ghosted.
Little off cue there, my bad.
And then I don't know. Where's my Andrews? Mark Andrews? You got an Andrews overlay?
Nope.
Yeah, that's him.
This one here, it says copy of J.K. Dobbins, so I'm not sure what you're
I know
smoking.
it's just a copy. It doesn't matter. That's still Mark Andrews with a throw and Jason.
That is literally the blackest I've ever seen Mark Andrews.
Yo, listen. You guys know from the Sunday show that the AI makes Greg the whitest black dude I've ever met, and this
So
right
true.
here, like every picture, Mark Andrews was either black or Puerto Rican. I don't know what's going on with his facial structure, but the AI was all about it.
That's phenomenal. So here's Mark Andrews. Everybody was saying it. Where's Mark Andrews? Is Mark Andrews gonna show up? Did Mark Andrews make it to the field today? Like, I didn't see Mark Andrews play. And these past 2 weeks have been great, but it's also the tight end field itself being absolutely atrocious. So if you drafted Mark Andrews for the first 5 weeks, you only got 5. I keep on baiting you into this shit. So guess what? If you drafted Mark Andrews, you got ghosted.
You got ghosted.
All right, let's done already. All right,
stuff.
that was a lot of fun. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let's go with the close of the show. It's our boy, Mr. LeDuc. I forgot the name already. What was the name again?
No, Mr. Mallard is hiding. Mr. Mallardo is taking over this week.
Mr. Mallardo. He's going to
Mallardo.
give you some.
Can't you tell the
spooky-
difference?
Ah, yes, I can. Where he's going to give you some spooky, sophisticated starts of the week. Let's close it out.
Hello there. As you can tell, I am not Mr. Mallard. Mr. Mallard's in hiding after his embarrassing performance last week of his suggestions. No, I am his close, good-looking, similar-looking relative, Mr. Mallardo. So I'm going to spill out the sophistication station, and we're going to keep it quick and simple this week because this is my first time doing this. So let's just go with Kate Otten. All right, Kate Otten. Kate Otten's going to be seeing a lot of targets for that Tampa Bay offense with Evans and Godwin out. We'll see which receiver picks up, but Otten is trusted already with Mayfield. I expect there to be a lot of points in this Tampa Bay and Atlanta game, which brings me to the other 2 classy starts this week. It's going to have to be Kirk Cousins paired up with Drake London because they're going to have to go for it, and then still Mr. Mallardo. They're going to have to go for it, and they're going to have to score a lot of points, I think. So this is going to be a good back-and-forth game. And, yeah, Cade Otton, Kirk Cousins, Drake London, me, Mr. Mallardo, you win. Stay classy. I think that's, stay classy.
I ate his liver with some fava beans and a nice Chianti.
Spooky, spooky, spooky.
All
All
right.
right.
Natural.
Mr. Mallardo, indeed. Great job. We appreciate
We
it.
signed that guy to a long-term deal. To be on
I'm saying,
TSS.
one day when I get paid, I'm definitely going. You're the first two that'll hear me leave. All right, let's go to. Don't forget, wake up with us on Sunday, bright and early, 8 a.m. We're gonna have a spooky wake up show with a lot of good stuff for you. Of course, we're gonna bring you some great betting lines, ultimate DFS lineups. Basically, give you some picks and just break down the whole NFL day. Answer, of course, all your fantasy lineup questions as well. So make sure you tune in. From us to you, we appreciate you, and we are out.